Mavericks. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by Peyton Davis today. This is the fifth quarter, live on Rip City Radio 620. If you want to join in on the conversation, you know what to do. Head over to social media. Chris J. Burkhardt is the name. Also, you can get over to youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio 620, and of course, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Blazers, man, what a game in this one. It was wonderful to see everybody getting into action as 4 of the 5 starters get 20 points. Phenomenal. And Scoot Henderson was just a point away from grabbing 20 as well. He ended the night with 19. Kyrie Irving was absolutely unstoppable. Like, he did Kyrie Irving things. I get it. That's what he's here for. That's what he's known to do. But still, the Blazers, they had their answers, and Dallas just kind of struggled a little bit to do what they needed to do to get over that hump. The Blazers led wire to wire in this one. Pretty good game, Peyton.
Absolutely. I think you said it best. Kyrie did Kyrie things. Sometimes it felt a little bit like a 1v5 out there. Kyrie was he was carrying that Mavs team, just making it difficult for those Blazers to make plays. But, man, to rally and fight off that comeback was great to see.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving was kind of the epitome of when you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah,
totally. Like some of the shots he was making.
bottom.
Like you and I were sitting courtside for the final 4 minutes of the game, and there's a Blazer fan behind us, and every time he hits a shot, they were just like, oh my gosh, how does he do that?
Yeah.
And it was just, it was unstoppable. And I looked at you at halftime, I was like, holy smokes, I was like, that might be the quietest 24 points you'll ever see, because it didn't feel like he had 24 in that first half, and then they held him to just 2 points in the third quarter, but then that fourth quarter he popped off for 20. He ended the night with 46 points, 16 of 26 shooting, 5 of 12 beyond the arc. And I will point out that one of your keys to victory in this one was keeping the assist down for Kyrie. You mentioned with Luka out, he's going to have the ball a little bit more. You need to keep the assists down. Blazers held Kyrie to just 2 assists, so pretty good defensive effort from the Blazers. And what I liked about this one, Peyton, was just the vibe, right? Because it felt like this team was ready to roll. It felt like they were just all gas, no break, in a good way. And as some of the people said on social media that I saw, felt like this team was ready to run through a wall. There was some intensity and focus in this game.
Oh yeah, and even that was one of the first questions asked to Coach in the post-game presser was, hey, what was some big keys in the game night? And he said, we came out hungry from start to finish. We started the game hot. We were aggressive, controlled aggression, getting to the hoop and making the right plays. But we just came out, with the fire under our butt a little bit and wanted to set the tone early.
Yeah, absolutely, they did. And another, let's look at the box score real quick. First off, let's start with the Dallas Mavericks. Klay Thompson had 12 points, 1 rebound and 1 assist, 0 points from Maxi Kleber, 15 points from Daniel Gafford. Spencer Dinwiddie, he had 17 points, 4 assists, and 8 rebounds, and 46 points from Kyrie Irving. Like I said, he was unstoppable. On the bench, Jaden Hardy had 11, and Quentin Grimes chipped in 15. For your Trailblazers, Jeremy Grant had 14 points on 4 of 9 shooting. He did get 8 rebounds and 3 assists, so the man can rebound. That's good. 21 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists from Denny Avdia, and another just box score-filling game. 21 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 block shots from DeAndre Ayton. Shaedon Sharpe had 23 points in a very, very effective game. And this is something I like about this game, Peyton, as I've been harping on this for a couple weeks now, is I want to see games where Shaedon Sharpe leads the team in shot attempts.
Absolutely.
Because I just think that shows that he's being aggressive. And tonight, he and Ant led the team. They each had 18, so you love to see that. Anthony Simons had 22 points, man, and he's like, hey, I don't need Scoot, chomping at my heels like he was after that last game. So he showed up when it came to distributing the ball. He had 8 assists to go with those 22 points. And then Scoot Henderson, 19 points and 6 assists. I thought he was very efficient, 8 of 15 from the floor. And I thought the biggest takeaway from tonight was very similar to that night where he had 10 against Utah, was he only had 1 turnover. It didn't even happen till the third quarter, and it was an absolutely lazy pass. I mean, you just sat there and you're like,
he was tired.
Oh, right as he passed it. Like,
and then what did he do right on the other side of the floor? Took it right back.
Yeah,
Caught it out of the air.
He got
a
the
steal immediately back. He knew he messed up.
Which
said,
is what you
"I'm gonna
love
take
to
that back."
see, right?
Absolutely.
Like, okay, you made a mistake, now atone for it, right?
Yeah, next play mentality.
Right.
Yep.
Make right.
Next
And
play.
he absolutely did. So I absolutely love to see that from him as well. So, man, so that's 2 games. You take those 2 games, that's 16 assists and 2 turnovers.
Yeah.
That's what you want to
And
see
that's
from
and
him.
another thing you look at too is we talked about, when Scoot came into the league, he's so strong, kind of plays like we talked about a little bit of that Chris Paul wants to be that Chris Paul-esque type of player. He comes into this game, he plays great defense. He has 5 steals in this game. 5 steals.
Yeah. Defense is good, and it was funny because I talked to you during that game too. I was like, I feel like his defense is underrated. And that was early in the game I said that, and he showed it tonight.
Absolutely.
Chris E. On the YouTube chat says that he was hoping for some Bjork intro music. So, Brendan, if you can work on getting some Bjork in the rotation, the only reason he wants some Bjork is because of old coach Nate Bjorkstrand. So, in Nate we trust, right? Like
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll add that to the ledger.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So Nate the Great, he is, undefeated as Trailblazers head coach. And Jackson chimes in as well. That was the first time all season where it felt like the Blazers had some offensive control in the first quarter and helped set the tone. And Jackson, they absolutely did. They came out firing. And I just felt like there was a lot more movement to this offense the last 2 days. I know it's easy to say that, hey, Chauncey wasn't here and Coach Bjorkstrand was filling in, so or Borkran was whatever's filling in, and so it made more sense, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But I also think maybe the team's just locked in a little bit.
I think so too. And it's also another thing easy to say is Mavericks are missing players. A lot of things go right for the Blazers before this game even starts. But I think that the real thing is because once again looking back at the box score, you said Denny fills up the stat sheet. I also see that he's 9 for 11 on free throws.
Yeah.
Our 6'9", 3-4 guard is running pick and rolls and getting to the line 11 times. You love to see it.
Yeah.
And so I think that shows setting the tone and being aggressive.
Absolutely. You cover a lot of sports. When you start mixing up names, I apologize to the great Coach Nate Borkran. I called him Bjorkstrand, and that's just because in my head I covered a lot of Winterhawks games with Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Mm-hmm.
You start to mix these names up when you cover so many.
Honest mistake.
Hey, maybe it's a good thing for Portland because Ollie Bjorkstrand he's one of the best Winterhawks ever. Dude was just a machine.
Shout out.
So, hey, get the Bjorks going in Portland.
Exactly.
There's a connection there that we got to figure out. If you want to join in on the conversation, youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. That's one way to do it. Also, you can go hit us up on social at Chris J. Burkhardt, B_slot. This guy, he's too young. He doesn't use Twitter. He aged out. You're an Instagram guy, though. Full on, probably.
Oh, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. What else do I use? Not Facebook. I don't use Facebook very much.
I do enjoy the Blue Sky.
I do. I like it. The user interface. I'm not going to get into it. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
People get mad because it's no political statement. It's more confined. I get my sports news like I wanted.
Yeah.
That's why I used to love Twitter because it was just all sports all the time.
Exactly.
But every social media eventually they eventually sell their soul, and then they start getting the ads on there, and then you're just toast. And then you got to find the next one.
Yep.
Got to find the next one. I'm not married to it. It's okay. Also, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. And according to my producer, Elijah in Salem has been waiting patiently. Elijah, thanks for calling in. Welcome into the fifth quarter. The floor is yours.
Yeah. I just want to say I'm not going to win. But I'm not here to break anybody's hearts or anything. I just think this coach should take over the team because they're responding very well.
They are.
And it's working. It's working. I'm not here to. I just think this coach should take over the team and see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you're not alone.
And I also heard that we might get Zion Williamson. Is that a rumor? Is that true? I don't know what. I heard we might get Zion Williamson.
Well, here's the thing, Elijah. I know that it sounds like the Pelicans might be blowing that thing up, and just about everybody's going to be available. I don't know if the Blazers get in on the Zion Williamson sweepstakes. That's the word. Thank you. But at the same time, if the Blazers could get in on that with getting rid of some of these other contracts that they do want to get off of, I would think it makes sense. Because here's the deal: people will knock him all the time because of the injury stuff. When he's healthy and he's an All NBA talent,
100%.
without a doubt.
He proved it.
Yeah, you put him and that talent next to a guy like Klingon, put him at power forward. I would kick the tires on that.
Oh yeah.
Why not? You're in a rebuild anyway. Kick the tires. So we'll see what happens, Elijah. We'll see. Do you want him?
I think he would. I think it would help us win.
Yeah, I think it would.
I think it would help us
agree.
win.
I think it'd lead to wins.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd lead to wins. Anyway, hey Elijah, I appreciate the call as always, and Elijah's gonna start calling more, I think, because he gets hyped when they win. He's here when they win, man.
Me too. I'm right there with him.
They need to start winning more. But thank you for the call there, Elijah. If you want to join in with the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. Of course, I keep shouting out our YouTube because the comments are going off there. Where Phil says, I enjoyed watching the young guys play well together. Concerned about Klingon not being able to explode and dunk when he's a foot next to the basket. I get that, but I'm not taking a deep breath at you. I'm taking a deep breath at that situation because I just don't know if that's necessarily in his game. Just look at him when he jumps and rebounds too. He doesn't get off the ground when he rebounds. He only gets a few inches off the ground. It feels like he's just so tall. He gets those arms up there. He's above everyone. He pulls it down. He's in the right spot, right time. Like he doesn't have that same explosion that like a Robert Williams does, obviously.
Yeah.
And I also think it will come with time, man. I think there may be just maybe a little bit of apprehension, right? You're wearing this knee brace that you're not used to. You hurt your knees. You're paying a little close attention to that.
Yeah.
He also has some of that college baby fat. He'll get into that NBA shape eventually. So I see it coming. So I'm not too worried, Phil. But I absolutely get what you're saying there. Chris says he could see. He too could see that with regards to Klingon. Wouldn't say he's concerned about it yet, and that's where I'm at. Like I see where you're concerned. I don't know if I'd go that far just yet, because again, maybe he's not playing high above the rim or being explosive as you want, but he's still making the right plays, and that's what matters at the end of the day. So I think you'll be just fine. I think you'll be just fine. All right, we're gonna take our first break of the show here on the fifth quarter, and we come back. We're gonna hit you with our shot of the night as well as our drive of the night. And, of course, we still got game balls to get to, Coach's Corner. Chris says, Burkhardt just covered it, rookie and all. See? Thank you. I like when people give my props. I do good.
Yeah.
I just move my mouth. Words come out. If they make sense, I'm lucky.
Perfect.
Tonight, they're making sense.
Everything's making sense tonight.
Absolutely. All right, this is the fifth quarter presented by Coors Light. We continue on after the break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right. What are we gonna do here? This is this is magic right here, Peyton. This is magic. Watch this.
Show me the magic.
Oh, what's up? What's up, YouTube? See, this is where I get fun when I get to produce the show here, because right now we're in commercial break, and this is the behind the scenes for these guys too. When we're in the studio, we have a special macro on our board, so when he cuts the break, the YouTube feed automatically goes to music. Here, it doesn't do that because it's a different setup. So I can turn it on and I can talk to YouTube during the commercial break, which is kind of fun. I like that. Yeah, I like that. I appreciate Chris giving me my props. I covered it. Yeah, I'm not too worried about Klingon. I think Klingon's gonna be fine.
I'm not either. I've seen him get 9 blocks in a game. So
without getting off the floor.
Yeah. So
all he does is put his hands up. It's like you guys remember like Enes Kanter, right? Enes Freedom now, but Enes Kanter when he was here.
Yeah.
Like that guy was phenomenal, especially on the offensive glass. And that guy didn't jump to get a rebound either. Like he didn't play above the rim.
It was all about angles. It was all about body position. It was about all that stuff.
And there wasn't a lot of dunking going on with him. It was get to the rim, get your layups. I think the lack of explosion from Klingon stands out a little bit more when you do see like what Robert Williams can do.
Yeah.
Play even a game tonight where Daniel Gafford likes to play above the rim like that. Like his dunks were incredible in the night.
Yeah.
Ferocious, right? Or if you were in Moda and you saw the video honoring Greg Oden, then you're reminded that Greg Oden was just an absolute monster above the rim and dunked with some ferocity. So that's where I'm saying.
Yeah.
Chris says, Peyton and Chris, how about that Denny guy, huh?
How about that Denny guy?
That Denny guy's incredible.
He is.
Yeah, Chris, I don't know if you were tuning in to the pregame show, but Peyton brought up an incredible point here, and that's the fact that Denny is not only under contract for the next 4 years, his contract is a de-escalating contract. He's at like 15 mil this year, 14 next year, 13 the year after, and in year 4 he'll be at
I think he's at like 11.
11 mil.
Yeah.
And if he continues to play the way he's playing, he'll be 28 years old, basically entering his prime with a contract that's paying him 11 mil. I mean, yes, he'll be in line for a good payday.
Yes.
But that is a contract that the Blazers do not want to move off of. That especially with the way. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. For YouTube, I don't know if you could hear Brendan. I don't believe you could because I turned down that headphone audio so you didn't hear ads all day. But he mentioned that that's why the Blazers had to give up a pick. Everyone thought Malcolm Brogdon was going to get them a first-round pick. Said they had to give one. Why? Because not only did they get a player that has some talent, that contract that's gold in today's NBA.
Well,
man.
and
Yeah. So
he done.
It makes sense for both of them. But yeah. Denny's been great. I think he is actually probably a very big reason for the way they've been playing. You're perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's great. So anyway, YouTube, we're gonna come back here in just a second. We're almost back on radio, so I gotta let you go. We'll be right back. Back into the fifth quarter. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by my man Peyton Davis. And if you were listening on YouTube, we were just going in on Denny Avdia, man. What a steal that the Blazers have in him. I don't know if you've heard me talk about it, but when that trade happened on draft night, there was a reporter there at the Blazers facility who had also spent some time covering Washington. And why everyone else was like, oh, I don't know, is that a good deal? He was like, you guys, Denny Avdia is really good. He's like, he wasn't used the way he should have been in Washington. He still had some good sites. Like, he's exactly what Portland needs. And we're like, all right, well, you actually spent some more time covering him than we did outside just watching the occasional Washington Wizards game. We'll believe you. And it's starting to come to fruition because he's been my favorite Blazer player of the last 2-3 weeks easily.
Yeah, I mean, can't talk about it enough, right? He's filling the stat sheets. Making plays like we had already talked about a little bit, 9 from 11 from the free throw line. A 6'9" guy running your pick and rolls with DeAndre Ayton is not normal. So, to have a guy that can do that on the left side of the floor, pass, play make out of that position is real valuable.
That's what I liked about him too in the beginning of the year too. And the plays weren't there as much, but you could see that he was always looking to make the pass, looking to make the play. And now that I think that team's starting to get that chemistry together, those passes are hitting and it's turning into good plays. I mean, he had 2 of them there in the third and the fourth quarter tonight. Those lobs to DA.
Yeah.
And part of it is because he is so good at getting to the basket when he drives. I mean, we saw those ones late right in front of us where it's like he takes contact and he still gets the ball up and gets it in, right?
Yep.
So when he starts driving, he has that gravity, right? And he gets that defense to come at him, and that's where he can lob it up. And he had those 2 nice ones to DA, which it was nice to see DA get above the rim because that's one of my biggest knocks on his game is not playing above it enough when he can.
Yeah.
But so it's just nice because DA's always going out, Denny Avdia, that DA, is always out there going to make a play. You talked about it in the pregame show, getting rebounds, pushing tempo, doing all those little things, and it's really starting to pay off. Tonight it was in the starting lineup. I still don't mind him being in the 6-man role. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
But man, it's just good. It's absolutely good, man. I love Denny Avdia right now. Exactly what the Blazers need, in my opinion. So good on you, Denny. Good on you. I also thought this game was another great one for Scoot. I mean, 19 points, 6 assists, just that one turnover. Got in there 28 minutes. It is hard to necessarily take him out or put him in a ton when, Ant is actually having a pretty good game.
Yeah, an efficient game, yeah.
But he's doing what he needs to do right now, and this is what you like to see. I mean, it's about the progression and the maturation. One thing that I do think is interesting, and, I mean, I feel like whether right or wrong, on Monday, when Chauncey Billups returns to that sideline, he's going to be under an absolute microscope, if he wasn't already.
Yeah.
Right? Because one thing that I thought was a takeaway from the last 2 games was Borkrin does let the offense play a little more loose and free and really to their strengths. I felt like there was so much movement and fluidity to the offense the last 2 nights and good ball movement and you still put Scoot in the corner, but you put him in more spots to succeed, and almost I just feel like give him a little bit of a boost of confidence because the way he was shooting the ball, even the 3-pointers tonight that he didn't make, I mean, what he end up from beyond the arc, he was 2 of 6. And he had a couple shots that they were good shots. The feet were under him. The form looked good. Shot was just a little off, but he was shooting with confidence, and I like that. So when Chauncey comes back, he's going to be under an absolute microscope because if they don't look anywhere like they looked the last 2 games, if the offense looks in shambles, if everything looks stagnant, if they come out with a lack of focus or he doesn't like their spirit – it might be gloves off.
It's going to speak volumes.
It's going to speak volumes, and for the fans, it might be gloves off at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like they already are barking up that tree. So
after a 2-game sample size of that,
and I think Nate Borkrin's good coach.
Yeah,
but I don't think Nate Borkrin is like the savior of any franchise. I mean, he got the can in Indy. That's basketball town, right?
Yeah.
So. But again, maybe it's the new scene. A new city can always help because you've seen coaches struggle one place and they do great the next.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, I would say maybe it's getting over your skis, right? But at the same time, 2-0 in these 2 games, and the team
you can only react to what you see. You know, you can only react to what you see, and when you see high spirit, high tenacity, aggressiveness, playing passionate basketball, you can't really ignore it.
Yeah. What was that, Brendan?
Oh, I was just saying, I mean, for what it's worth, Chris, obviously I think you guys are both correct. You can't, put too much stock into something. But when you look back, did he really get a fair shake in Indiana, considering it was 1 year, it was a COVID year, and then if memory serves, like Indiana's, I believe, owner or general manager at the time kind of ran the bus over him on the way out, was like, he didn't, kind of made a mistake, needed to hire somebody else and all that. So I don't know, maybe he's just making the most of the opportunity. I kind of like the energy so far.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I think anybody in their profession is smart to do that. Like, even this job, right? Like, if I filled in for Chad, I mean, he always told me, like, hey, don't try to do what I do. Make it your own, dude. Like, don't try to be Chad. Just do, it's my show, and there's things that I like to do. High fives at the end of every Rip City drive, and again, this and that.
Yeah.
But within that, make it yours. And so I think it's the same thing here. Like, yes, there's things that Chauncey Billups likes to do. There's fundamentals to everything that he likes to do. So you have to respect that as an assistant coach. The worst thing you can do is throw everything out the door and just kick him in the rear end because he's not here for 2 days and, rule with an iron fist. That will cause trouble.
Yeah.
But you absolutely can take the fundamentals that he wants and then go make it your own, which I think he's done in these last 2 games. And to Brendan's point, that's smart, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to take the ball and run with it. You take that opportunity, and you got to understand that these assistant coaches, and Borkran's one of them. Like, they all want to be head coaches one day, and in his case, head coaches again one day.
Yeah.
So when you do get the chance to do it, you do got to show off just a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's totally right. It would be honestly a little bit – it would be weird if you came into a situation where you were stepping in for somebody or stepping up to the plate and tried to, make it not as authentic as your own. Like that would seem off-putting. That would seem a little bit, I feel like that would be – that you're absolutely right in that, I feel like.
Yeah, and to Brendan's point, he's still got that mind like a steel trap because he's a young buck. But Borkran's time in Indiana, he was there for 72 games, and he went 34 and 38 in that. And to be quite fair, 1 year is really not a lot of time for a coach to figure out what they're doing. Now, there are coaches who have been bad. You can go down the list. I mean, there's coaches who have been fired 16 games into their tenure because they obviously knew it was the wrong hire.
Yeah.
But in that situation, when you come out, getting through COVID with a near 500 record is pretty – I mean, kind of impressive, honestly, as weird as that year was. It was hard to take anything seriously in 2020 and 2021. So, I feel you there. I think Brendan did make a good point.
Yeah, totally.
If you want to join in on the conversation, YouTube.com is one way to do it. 503-248-0620 is another. Old Soul said Scoot is going to be the ultimate pass-first point guard. Denny has been the best of lately. Shaden shows the most upside still. Just wait until the balls actually drop. He will be a force. I just said that out loud. Thanks. Shay's playing so good right now. Old Soul, and part of that is the confidence fact. I think that the coaches have been trying to hammer that home to him, and it's finally kicking in, and he's playing with a little bit of intensity that he doesn't normally show. I said I like the fact that he's been at the top, if not the leader. He's second on the team every single night right now in shot attempts. Tonight he was super aggressive coming out of the gate, which led to their early lead. So, I think he's poised to be their best player. And Scoot is interesting, too, because – I was talking with Peyton about this as we were walking into the arena today. But, I know they're not the same, and I'm not making this comp saying he's like that player. But, look at a Chris Paul, right? Chris Paul is an elite point guard. There's a reason he's still in this league, right?
Yeah.
Chris Paul
Top 5 all time,
is an elite passing guard.
Yeah.
Always has been. It's always been his strength is running offenses. Chris Paul has never needed to be an elite scorer.
No.
He's only averaged more than 20 points twice in his entire career. That was his third and fourth year in the league. Now he's averaged in the high teens many times, 19, 18, etc. But how many of those years? 11 assists, 11 assists, 10 assists, 10 assists, 10 assists, 10 assists, all the way down the board.
Yeah.
And what I've always liked about Chris Paul, especially when you look at the end of his run with the Hornets and the early run with the Clips, is he didn't need to be the go-to scorer, but if the team was struggling, he was good enough to start to take over and start getting buckets, right? And that made him a force.
Yeah.
It absolutely made him a force. Look at the coach that even the coach tonight, like Jason Kidd wasn't a guy who was known for necessarily lighting up the scoreboard, but he was an elite passer. Right, I mean, he was the triple-double guy before
Absolutely.
Westbrook got out there. He was the gap between the Magics and the Westbrooks, if you will.
Exactly.
But you look at Jason Kidd, Jason Kidd, the most points he ever averaged was 18.7 in 2002-2003.
Yeah.
So again, what's your barometer for what makes a good guard? But at the same time, he had multiple years, 10 assists, 10 assists, 10 assists, 9 assists per game. So if you get to a point with Scoot where you're averaging 16, like take this year for Jason Kidd in Phoenix when he was 27 years old, he finished 8th in the MVP race, 16.9 points, 9.8 assists. If you get that from Scoot with good defense, and Jason Kidd was defense player of the finished 11th for defense player of the year that year and was an all-star. But you get that production from Scoot, but then Shea can go out there and average 25, 26, and Denny's giving you 20, then you feel very, very comfortable with the production that Scoot's giving you, right?
And you think about it too this way, like, and this is me just kind of off the top of my head thinking here. We've had success the last 2 games when Scoot has been our lead guard because, as we've talked about in the past, when have we seen Anthony thrive?
Right.
When he's playing a 2-guard, catch and shoot, he's making plays off of that. These last 2 games, we've seen an efficient Anthony Simons or a more efficient Anthony Simons because he is not bringing the ball up the floor. So it's like you have a guy who can get you 15 to 20 a game. He's going to get you between 6 and 9 assists the last 2 games. He's been playing great, and he's allowing you to have 2 guys, Shaden and Anthony, that are great playmakers and scorers off of the catch. So that's what I was really thinking about today when watching this game was Anthony can really, go into what he's used to, and he had some great off-the-catch threes because he didn't have to bring the ball up the court every play.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like what you what we're laying down. And Old Soul says great analysis. So thank you, Old Soul. That was off the cuff. There was no prep for that. We just went right in with our basketball knowledge.
Sometimes throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
Sometimes it sticks.
So absolutely. All right. If you want to join the conversation, youtube.com is one way to do it. Chris J. Burkhardt on social is another way. What's your handle? What's your social handle?
DavisPD03 on no socials, and then Twitter it's DavisPD01.
There you go. I hope you heard that.
DavisPD03.
There you go.
No socials.
There
That's
you go.
What it is.
There you go. And of course, YouTube.com and 503-248-0620 is that telephone number. Where we head out right now to the guy who's always. I love this caller Peyton, because no matter what, win or lose, he brings the Blazer optimism. It's Kieran. Kieran, been a while. Welcome back into the 5th quarter, bud.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, yes, and I want to know why Jabari Walker didn't play tonight. Because it looked like he was suited up and he was on the bench, and I was bummed out that Jabari Walker didn't play tonight.
Yeah, I just think this was one where Coach was just going with his rotations, and you also gotta look at the fact that Donovan Clingan is obviously healthy, so he's getting those backup center minutes. You probably could have put Walker at the 4 a little bit, just because you do.
Yeah, he could have.
You could have.
I would have loved to see Jabari Walker out there tonight.
Yeah, I would have. I think a lot of people would. Everyone tends to love Jabari. But you also look at the minutes breakdown, Kieran, and it's actually really interesting because Scoot Henderson off the bench played 28. Donovan played 12. Chris Murray and Ryan Rupert played 8 and 4 respectively. But all your starters were basically over 35 minutes.
Banton didn't play tonight either.
Delano Banton was hurt. So he was out.
Okay.
Robert Williams was out, and then Tumani Kamara was out. You could have played Jabari, but
I was disappointed that Williams was out too. Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully they get those guys back. Coach just went with a super tight lineup, man, and I'm with you. I think everyone likes to see Jabari get in, but I will tell you this one thing I do love about Jabari.
I would have loved. Yeah, I would have loved to see Jabari get in tonight too.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, Kieran, and one thing I love about Jabari is. He didn't get. I don't think he played in that Utah game. If he did, it was sparingly. My mind doesn't serve me right. And he obviously didn't play tonight. But both nights. But both nights, Kieran, as we came and walked out the court after the post-game press conference, he was out there getting his shots up and getting his work in. So I like to see that from him. He's hungry, and that's what you want on this roster. Yeah. So I do like that. And
yeah, that's great.
I got to ask.
Happy that they got the win tonight.
I know the wins are good, but I got to ask you. I got to always ask you a question when you're on. But how about Denny Avdia, man? Everybody tends to be loving him. What are your thoughts on that guy? Isn't he great?
Oh, yeah, he's great too. But, Jabari Walker's definitely my favorite for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Kieran. And, hey, man, thanks for the call. As always, we'll talk to you again soon.
Go Blazers.
Yep, and go Blazers.
All right.
And shout out to Timmy Hammock on the YouTube chat. He says 2-0 since I wore the Metallica shirt to the game.
Keep rocking it.
Still wish you would have ran on the court and hit Ed Malloy with an RKO. Oh yeah, RKO out of nowhere to lose my credential and my job. I'm sorry, your wishes are not going to happen on that one. But that would be kind of funny, just out of nowhere RKO. Bam. Bam. Marcus Lake chimes in. He's been impressed with Shaden recently, as have I. I feel like the biggest thing with him is the mental part, is getting in there. And I know this sounds weird, I know this sounds weird, Peyton, but one thing I said about Shaden early in the season is that kind of the same with Klingon too, but it's the fact that he goes out there and he's uber talented, but he plays passive. And when he gets to the point where he realizes that he might be just the most athletically gifted and talented player on the court a lot of nights, that's when the switch will flip,
Yeah.
right? And he'll start to show it. And I think he's starting to show that right now. He's starting to get to the point where it's like, you know what? Like, I got this in my bag, man, and they can't stop me. And it's a good thing to see from him, man, because I want him to succeed a ton.
Yeah, totally. And I think that he's one of those guys that Shea is going to lead with action. He's not going to lead with, we have guys that lead with words. We talk about DeAndre Ayton getting guys motivated, stuff like that. Shaden's going to go out and play, and he's going to lead you with his actions, which, like you said, when he figures out that he is, one of the best guys on the floor and really starts to play that way, he's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. And a quick comment here on the YouTube chat. Chris said he missed what Robert Williams' injury is. Anybody know? Yeah, Robert Williams currently dealing with a slight right ankle sprain. Tumani Kamara has a left foot sprain. Delano Banton obviously has that left hip contusion. You guys remember that nasty spill he took a few games ago. I believe that was in Phoenix. Matisse Thybulle continues to be out with, I don't know what. The injury just keeps changing. It was the knee, now it's the ankle, and I just want to get the guy on the roster. It's a bad thing. It's an absolute bad thing. No disrespect, but it's an absolute bad thing when people go, oh, gosh, I forgot he was on our roster.
Not to
They
mention,
haven't seen Matisse suit up in what feels like forever.
Not to mention, I forgot that guy was 25.
Right.
I thought he was 33.
He's young. But that was what the Robert Williams ankle injury is what has him out. So hopefully he returns to the lineup soon. Hopefully he returns soon. All right, we're going to take another break here on the fifth quarter. When we come back, we're going to head to the coach's corner. Hear what Coach Borkern had to say following this victory. Peyton and I will also hand out a game ball, so have that one at the ready. Who you want to give a game ball to in this one? Again, if you want to join the chat, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You should all have that in your saved, your favorites, your recent dials, so you can all dial in. I almost said speed dial, but I know that's not a thing anymore. Chris J. Burkhardt is the name on social media. And, of course, youtube.com, type in Rip City Radio. You can come join the chat there. The fifth quarter, presented by Coors Light, rolls on after the break right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Timmy Hammock. He has a way of choosing tattoos. He wants me to get a tattoo of Jar Jar Binks eating a hot dog. I also mentioned we're talking about Travis Demers. Like I want to get like Travis Demers, but drawn as a Simpson character drinking a squishy from the Quickie Mart. That'd be pretty good. But now he says,
like that one more, I think.
Yeah, now he says he wants to pick for Brendan. He wants Brendan to get a tattoo of Mr. Incredible eating an onion. So there we go.
Okay.
He told me he's getting his. I talked to him today. Hey, he told me he's getting his first tattoo here pretty soon. He went in for the consult. They haven't called him back. So if you're a tattoo artist and Timmy Hammock stopped in, you better call him back. He wants to get inked. But man, he needs to start getting more inked because his ideas are pretty good. I mean, he needs a Mr. Incredible eating an onion.
They're unique for sure.
Yeah, I like that. Didn't you? What was it? What was your? Gosh, see, I need to write these down. He had one is who was riding a Velociraptor or some nonsense like that. I want you to get a tattoo of Chad doing riding a Velociraptor while eating a Cheeto. Like what? What? Yeah. Yep. 'Cause coach is going to take time, right? So, yeah. We'll 4-4. Yeah, that's fine. Elijah says I should coach the Blazers. I don't know about that. Gotcha. How long till we're back? Okay, perfect. I want to make sure I wasn't. But yeah, Elijah, I don't know if you want me coaching the Blazers. I could pick it apart from afar, but I'd just be like, hey, just go out there and play ball. Let's go out there and play ball.
Do your thing, guys.
Do your thing. Chris says, I ran into a guy when I was backpacking who had a Mickey Mouse tattoo on the middle of his forehead. No joke. He probably lost a bet. Wow. You had to have lost a bet to pick Mickey Mouse in the middle of your forehead. That's insanity. Insanity. There's no tattoo I'm getting on my head. This is pristine. I'll cover the rest. Like I said, I mean, I'm not against it, obviously. I always think a tattoo sounds really good, though. I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish this arm sleeve. I'm going to go in there. And then they're like, all right, let's get it done. Needle hits the skin for the first pass. You're like, I regret this. This was dumb. And that was like 10 seconds into this 6-hour session. What was I thinking? What was I thinking? This was stupid. Last time I went in to finish my arm, man, I was like, we hit that 6-hour mark, and I was about to. I'm not a tap outer, but I'm like, I was getting close.
Yeah.
We had to quit because my arm was getting so swollen he couldn't tattoo anymore. I was like,
Lord.
oh my gosh, we gotta.
There's a new, like, people are using like the numbing cream now.
I hate it. I
can't do that.
I'm old school.
Me too.
It would
Also,
be totally
like how
yeah.
I've seen so many, like, as much as it helps whatever, I've seen also horror stories about how it just does not go the way you want it to.
See, the thing about it that's bad is, like, you need your body's pain reaction, because that tells you whether you're getting through too much. It tells the tattoo artist how they're tattooing. If you're just gonna numb it and tattoo artist can go way too deep or mess because he has no reaction to your body. No, I got my bodyguard here, so.
Well, I'll take this stuff down. If you just want to drop the case off it.
Our first quarter readiness and force and pace that we played with was really good. I like the way that we started the game. I like the way that we finished the game. And we finished the game with, a different combination of players, tonight than we did in our last game against Utah.
I've got you off right now, but I'll let you know when we're getting near the end.
We had 4 guys score 20 points. Our point guards had 14 or 15 assists combined between them. There's a lot to like about that one.
There's been a couple times this year where the opposing team's best player wasn't available and you guys got throttled, and there was talk about maybe taking things for granted. But tonight, Luka's out, and like you said, you guys came out red hot right away.
Yeah, Luka being out, and man, Kyrie is tough to guard, and we tried to throw everything at him that we could. The speed and spots that he can get to and the shots that he can make. I thought Jeremy Grant played so hard and staying with them, and I think our help side defense in the third quarter was a lot better. I don't know how many he had in the third, but he had over 20, close to 25 at half, and then again he got going in the fourth. But he scored a lot of points, so they got a lot of good players on their team. But I liked the way that we continued to fight, no matter if he was making them or not.
With Kyrie, with them having so many guys out, was the plan to try to shut down Kyrie, or was it more, let him, get whatever he's going to get and then try to make sure nobody else?
No, it was more of we were going to blitz him and do different things against him during the course of the game. And even when we were in those blitzes and stuff, he was just beating us down the floor at times before the blitz could take place. He was doing that some, and he hit a lot of tough ones, and he got to the free throw line. So it was a combination of everything. I wasn't sitting there saying, he can score on many, many people, but it wasn't like rattling me too much to where I wanted to panic on it because I just liked the way that we were playing. Now, yeah, he had a huge game, but we weren't allowing him to have that game, so we were trying to do everything we could.
What did you think of DeAndre's performance tonight?
Big time. Big time. I don't know what he had, 20 and 16, 20-something and 16, and just the way he played. And even when he picked up his fourth foul, there in the third quarter, I had a conversation with him not to get that fifth. He was extremely locked in. I like the way that he talks back there on defense because he's the anchor of the defense and he can see everything in front of him. He was diving, he was screening, locked in. The best thing about him is he's always trying to get others shots. He's trying to set good screens, trying to do the right thing that the team needs. Thought his effort was big time. I could go down the list on the guys like that, but there was a lot of good performances that led to a team victory.
You went to that Denny DA action a bunch on the left side. What is it about Denny as the decision maker with the ball in his hands that you like?
There's a few things on that. When Denny and DA are involved in a ball screen, and you got Ant, Shea, and Jeremy Grant on the perimeter, there's three very good shooters out there that can try to create some more space, very good shooters. And Denny does a good job of getting to his spots and playing physical and playing through hits. And I think DA, even on his dives and late rolls, is always a threat. So when you have some shooting around that action, that's what I liked most about it. That's when it can look better.
Good to see Scoot string a couple of these games together in a row.
Yeah, again, it's such a hard decision down the stretch on guys to play when you have a list of guys that are doing some great things out there. Like I said again, he 19, and him and Ant were assisting the ball. Our team assists were, they were great. We were sharing it. I liked it that we won the transition battle. I liked it that we won that. I liked it that we won the glass. Those were big stats that we talked about before the game.
What do you yourself get out of these opportunities to lead the team and serve as head coach?
To do what Coach Billups would do. I really enjoy being a part of this team, and they do. It's a hard playing team. That's a lot of fun to coach, and there's going to be highs and lows during the season. We got these 2 games, and let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. There's a whole lot of season ahead of us, but it was a fun one tonight. Now we get ready for Philadelphia.
And he's absolutely right. It was a fun one tonight as the Blazers go out and grab a 126-122 victory over the Dallas Mavericks. And I'll tell you what, man, there's some people trying to poo-poo it. Luka wasn't playing and P.J. Washington was out, and it's basketball, man. A win's the win, and they played nice. I'll take it. I still think that the Mavericks are a good team. It's like we talked about on the pregame show. I wouldn't start fire sailing just because Luka's out. They're still a team. They were in the NBA Finals a year ago. They're gonna be okay. They just kind of revolve around Luka, but. Man, they still got Kyrie, and when guys aren't suspended, they're still pretty killer. So, not worried about them, but also Blazers went out and took care of business. You could sit here and say, this was you can't take a lot from this game because Luka didn't play and they were missing all these players in the second night of the back-to-back. Because at the same time, what happened when Utah came to town, who's a far worse team than Dallas, and Lauri Markkanen was a late scratch and they were missing players, or Ja Morant wasn't playing and neither was Desmond Bane or Marcus Smart when Memphis came to town. And what did those 2 teams do?
Yeah.
Boat raced you, chased you out of your own building by 40 points, right? So the Blazers didn't have that type of performance last night. That's why regardless of who played for Dallas, you can take this as a good win.
Totally. And I think I also look at Dallas's record without Luka this season, and it's pretty good. These are NBA players, good caliber players. You watch Quentin Grimes get some real run tonight and play great. Some other guys as well. Daniel Gafford has a solid game tonight, and obviously Kyrie doing Kyrie things. But this is not some incompetent basketball team without Luka. This is still, an NBA roster that has a good record when Luka's not in the lineup.
Yep, absolutely. If you want to join the conversation, 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. We'll head out right now where Victor in Turkey's been waiting patiently. Victor, welcome into the fifth quarter. What do you got for me tonight?
All right. Nice talking to you. That game was great. They put a damper or whatever on this Mavericks team. The Mavericks is not my favorite team. I mean, many teams, more than one, they're not my favorite because I'm just a Blazer fan, But I don't love some other teams, not especially, but the Mavericks, what they did, I think the last game, they beat up on my favorite, one of my favorite and Blazer favorite, Yusuf Nurkic. They beat him up on the face. I don't appreciate that. I tell you that I'm a former soccer player, and I've been seeing many, physical, players. But the real reason for that, I can't say it over the phone. Is kind of it won't be allowed. What did happen and why they did that to the Yusuf Nurkic is beyond the expression. But that's not it. But what I'm saying is that the Mavericks, believe it or not, they thought they're going to come here and steal the game. Believe me, they thought after that altercation in Phoenix, they were in a hyper mood. You could see it. They were a physical team, and they thought they're going to come here and steal the game, but they couldn't do it because what the Blazer is, they won on a skill. They won the game by their skills. They weren't very physical. They play hard, but they weren't physical. Like Gabriel or whatever it is. Those tall players, Maverick tall players. They're a very physical team. You cannot underestimate that. Gabbett or one of the physical is Gabbett, I think his name is. But the Blazers went there with their skills and good coaching, and that's how they won the game. But that's a good good indication of the future, and the way they play, they're great. But one of my favorite players is Anthony Simon. Anthony Simon right now is like a ghost. He's like a ghost on the team. He's like invisible, because what it is, the coach. I mean, one of the analysts said they changed his roles. His role is changed. Anthony Simon, as you know, he's not the first option to shoot the ball. He had 8 assists tonight. The way he plays, when he catches the ball, he's gonna pass it right away to the other players, whoever it is. And but you see, the last 2 minutes, my friend, the last 3 minutes, that's where the Anthony Simon is the best player in the whole Blazer team. The last 3 minutes, the coach took one of the guards, the Scoot. He took the Scoot out and put Anthony Simon in. And the reason is because Anthony Simon is a high caliber. Everybody is scared of him. No matter he might even miss a shot, but his presence on the team, it scared a lot of players because he's a high caliber player, and that's why the coach put Ant Simon in the last 2 minutes, because everybody knows they know him. He's not gonna be shy from him. But he's my most favorite player, Anthony Simon. And if the Blazer trade him, good for him and maybe good for the Blazers. I don't know about that, but Anthony Simon, any team he goes, he's going to be a champion. He's going to be a better player. He's going to be a better shooter, and all of that. And believe me, I can bet on it. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the call, Victor. As always, you will stand hard for Anthony Simons, but let me tell you what, I struggle with your take to say he doesn't like get enough time and they don't use him right because he's their best player, but he's not getting enough shots. Like he's been their leading scorer all year until the last few
Hold
games.
on, Macro just fired.
What'd you do? Did you cut me off? Well, we're still on YouTube, so I'll keep talking on YouTube till you tell me I'm back, Brendan.
Okay, go for it. Not sure what happened there.
Are we back on? We're back on live?
You're good.
We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Brendan's back there trying to sabotage me. Apparently, I'm not being used right
either. It keeps
either.
sending it away. Hold on. I don't know what's going on.
YouTube gets the full show.
YouTube gets the
Kidding me
show.
with this crap, Shacker?
YouTube gets the show. I think everyone can hear you. You be careful what you say. We got to turn down that headphone. All right. Here's what Chris says on YouTube. He says, Peyton's not used to Victor. Yeah, give it time, Peyton. Give it time. He's picking on you. He must have saw your reactions. You're like, what? What?
I was listening. I was listening. Victor had some great points. Great points.
All right. So whenever you figure it out, Brendan, you just let me know. And if we need to cut to, we're back. Okay, thank you. If it cuts out, it cuts out. But here's the deal. Do you trust it to send a game ball? Do you trust it? All right. Well, let's pan out a game ball.
Okay. I'll take it.
No, you wait.
I'll wait.
Who is the MVP?
You had to wait for the intro to hit, okay? You'll take it, though. Give me your game ball.
I was going to say something else, and I should have waited for that. I can't focus.
Okay.
I can't focus with this.
I told this to Brendan a while back, and I told the Shacker that Big Balls by AC/DC playing in the background while you're trying to hand a game ball out is very distracting.
It is. It's hilarious.
It throws me
I want to
off.
laugh, and I can't. So, my game ball. Harder decision than I really wanted to. But at the end of the day, when I look at the box score, when I watch the game, my game ball goes to Denny Advia. We can't talk enough about him. Filling up the stat sheet. He goes for 21, 5 rebounds. He accounted for 6 of the Blazers' 28 total assists tonight. Really just, like you said, filling up the stat sheet, making a huge difference, a couple of huge lobs to dominate and late in the game to seal it. And another thing I wanted to touch on is, Victor said a couple of things, and coming off of Coach's Corner, a lot of the things that we talk about, there was a lot of opportunities for the Mavericks and Kyrie specifically to make a comeback in this game, and I really loved the composure. We talk about the confidence of certain players, but the composure to continue to drive the floor, and that was a big thing for Denny tonight. Was he had a ton of composure, was confident with the ball, even when the Mavericks tried a couple of times to storm a comeback.
No, to your point, yeah. When Kyrie or Dinwiddie hit 1-2, when they were hitting those threes that were comeback threes, right?
Yeah.
Denny had an answer on the other side, which is what you're talking about, that composure, which is good. For me, I'm actually going to give my game ball out to a guy that I criticize a lot, which I love that I get to give him a game ball because it means that maybe we're making some progress. I'm giving my game ball to DeAndre Ayton tonight. 21 points, 16 rebounds, 9 of 15 from the floor. He also had 3 block shots. And what I liked about his performance tonight was those 16 rebounds were absolutely clutch because the Blazers came in and destroyed Dallas on the boards.
Absolutely.
50-40, 14 offensive rebounds. 4 of those were from DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
He did everything you needed to do, and he got some points for it, too. So that's where my game ball goes, a good game from him. Now, before we got 2 things to get to before we're out here. First off, I want to go back to that Ant Simons thing, too, because I get it. I like Ant.
Yeah.
I like Ant, but they didn't. I don't think they put Ant in at the end of the game because they were scared. Other teams are scared of him. I hesitate to think that there are teams who shudder when Anthony Simons gets on the floor. There have been very few players that I think other teams shudder at when they're on the floor because they know they can't stop them. And that's kind of akin to being scared of. No one's scared of anybody here, but they know they're a player. Like Kyrie is one of them.
Yeah.
Kyrie is one that when he's on the floor,
killer.
You can't stop. You can only hope to contain.
100%.
Right? Damian Lillard was one. Ant's not in that territory yet.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
Let's just be completely honest, okay? Now, if the Blazers trade him and he gets to a right spot, I think there's still success there for him. I just think he's best when he plays a little bit more off ball. I mean, you look at tonight when he was hitting threes, he hit 4 of 8. I think 2 of his first 3 threes were what? catch and shoot threes. You got to put him
Drive,
in position to
kick,
catch and shoot, because
drive,
that's what he
kick.
does great.
100%.
And the 8 assists tonight were wonderful, but the Blazers aren't necessarily, even though he's carrying the ball down, they're not necessarily putting him in a position to create offense that way and distribute the ball. They're just putting the ball in his hand to make plays, and because he's their best player, so it's tough, but
Absolutely.
I don't think they're killing him.
And
man.
what did Coach talk about in the press conference, too? It's like, hey, we're going to finish this game with Denny Advia, pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton, and we're going to surround him with shooters.
That's
What
what
is
you need to
Anthony
do.
Simons
A
really
shooter.
good at?
A shooter.
Catching and shooting. So that's why you put him in at the end of that game. You kick. It's a
Right.
much higher percentage of
Yep.
going in. He's comfortable catch and shoot. That's why you have him in the
And
game
you had
there.
Jeremy Grant out there. You had Shade Sharp out there.
Exactly.
It
Three of
makes-
our catch
it
and
makes
shoot
sense.
guys.
As where in Utah, you kept Scoot out there late. Why? Because that was the unit that was playing well and was holding on that lead. So,
Cohesiveness.
yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm not knocking Ant. Victor seems to think that I'm just knocking Ant everywhere I go. In fact, Victor, I tell you that I think they need to use him off ball more, get the ball out of his hands, put him into his strength, and I think the 3-point percentage, which has been abysmal for him this year, would rebound when
It
you put
will.
him back into the spots where he can succeed, and so with the points, everything would be better for him in the long run. I
Yeah.
like Ant. In fact, when everyone starts talking about who do you trade, who do you move on, I kind of liked the lineup today that they played a lot with
I did
Scoot,
too.
Shea,
I did
and Ant on the floor at the
Yeah,
same
I did
time.
too.
Is
I
Scoot
did too.
talented enough, or is Shea talented enough to move him to the 3 and play him there? Because I liked it. I'm not saying this.
I liked it too.
I'm just saying I like
I
it.
really did.
The other thing I got to get off my chest before we go, we're almost out of time, but kudos to the Blazers and especially Blazer fans, man. It was so cool to see the video tribute to Greg Oden. He was in the house tonight, his first kind of return since leaving Portland, and he said he loved it. He was so gracious. If you are following me on social, Chris J. Burkhart's the name, you'll see the video the picture I posted that like he was going out the tunnel. Peyton and I were both stuck behind him, waiting patiently. But there was just a ton of people yelling at him for pictures and autographs. He was grabbing phones and taking selfies with every single fan. Like he gave him the time. He felt the love, and I think it was healing. I think it was good for him and good for the fans. And I'm so proud that the Blazer fans didn't treat him poorly because, like we said, man, he was not a bust.
There's no reason.
He was so good when he was
So
healthy.
good.
The body just turned on him, man. And he gave his all to Portland to the point that, he gave 100% and he got injured doing it.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that the Blazers showed him love because he needed that. And Greg Oden still, even though it was a small glimpse in time, it's one of my favorites.
One of my favorites, all-time favorite Blazers. It was a pleasure, and like we've talked about all the time, so happy to know he's doing well. So happy to have him, present in a Blazers game again. It was awesome.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for the fifth quarter. To everyone who called in, thank you so much. Elijah, Victor, you guys are all awesome. For everyone in the chat, thank you as well. Thank you for lying like the old soul did. He said he said I had a good analysis. That has to be wrong.
He was talking about me, Chris. Don't worry about it.
That makes sense now. That makes sense. And a big shout out to my man Peyton, who came out here, got to host a pregame and a postgame show. Actually, absolutely came in clutch because my voice you can hear it. It's raspy. And it came in clutch to have someone to let me take a break to swig on my tea for a little bit. So thank you.
Well, absolute privilege. And, thank you, as always, to be a part of this show. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for tonight's fifth quarter, though. The Blazers will be right back in action on Monday as I hit puberty live on air there. Like I tell you, the voice is shot. Monday night, 7 o'clock tip-off against Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. Tip-off at 7 means Blazers game day will be at 5 o'clock, so I'll be right here. We'll have Blazers game day. Chad will have Blazers pregame show, fifth quarter. All of it, all right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio, 620.